Good morning, one and all. So today, let us start another unit, that is third unit. Now this is pulse modulation. Okay. So in third unit, we'll study about pulse modulation. So it is we have entered into digital modulation techniques. So unit one, unit two. So they belongs to unit analog communications. Now we are now entering to the digital communications. Before that, we study this. What is the pulse modulation? Now, so in this, the important topics to be covered is sampling. You might have heard what is sampling. Okay, so sampling means so continuous time signal will be converted to discrete time signal. Okay, so if you sample a signal, what will happen? A continuous time signal becomes discrete time signal. Okay, now this is the nothing but discretization of time. What is another way of writing sampling? Is a discretization of time. So sampling is a process which discretizes the time. You know already what is a discrete means. Discrete means a finite number of values. Finite number of values. So continuous means infinite number of values. You know the difference between continuous time signal and discrete time signal. So continuous time signal generally we write as x of t. What do we write as x of t? In S and S we write x of t. Discrete time signal we write x of n. So that is the continuous time signal and discrete time signal. Now, how to realize this sampling? So by multiplying continuous time signal with periodic train of impulses. So that is very very important. So how to realize this? Sampling can be realized or sampling can be done by multiplying our continuous time signal with what? A train of impulses. Okay. Now here, so G delta of t is a train of impulse. Why? Because so how it is defined? Summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity del of t minus nts. So if you expand this summation, you get something like this. You get something like this. Okay. So what do you mean by this? So on del of t minus ts plus del of t plus del of t plus ts. We are getting shifted versions of impulses. What are we getting? Shifted versions of impulses. So is del of t, it is del of t plus ts, you get del of t plus 2ts, so on in the right hand side. Similarly, in the left hand side, del of t minus ts, del of t minus 2ts, so on. Here this is called a train of impulse or it is a sum of shifted versions of impulses. Okay. Now what is the period of these impulses? They are occurring a regular time interval of how much? Ts. How much? Ts. Okay. So all these impulses are occurring at regular time interval of Ts. That's why so this is Ts is called impulse train period or also called sampling interval or sampling period. Okay. So this is very very important. What is Ts is called? Sampling period or sampling interval. Why? Because we are getting impulses at regular intervals of ts seconds. Okay, so that's what it's called sampling period. Your subscript S stands for sampling, T for time, sampling interval or sampling period. So you know already Fs is 1 by Ts. So 1 by time period is called frequency. Okay, in the same way it is called sampling frequency or sampling rate. Okay, so here you must remember these terminologies. Ts is called sampling period or sampling interval. 1 by Ts that equal to Fs is called sampling frequency or sampling rate. Okay, now so there are various kinds of sampling, right? Flat tap sampling, natural sampling, but here so the most basic sampling is called ideal sampling. So let us see how to realize ideal sampling. As I told you just now, how to realize sampling? Multiply your continuous time signal with train of impulse. What is train of impulse? G delta of t, that is equal to summation n equal to minus t plus infinity delta of t minus nts. Okay. Here what do we do? So in the ideal sampling case, we take our continuous time signal m of t multiply with train of impulses. Okay, or otherwise we can write sampling is nothing but multiplying m of t with g delta of t. What is g delta of t? It is called sampling train or train of impulses, that is defined as summation n equal to minus to plus infinity delta of t minus nts. Okay, now next, so you know already our m of t is a original continuous time signal. M delta of t is called sampled signal. Okay, here, so if sample m of t, so if sample m of t, it becomes, so if you sample m of t, it becomes m delta of t. Okay, so this is the sampled version of m of t. So if you sample m of t, it becomes m delta of t, which means m delta of t is a sampled signal of m of t. Okay, now m delta of t is how it is defined, you know already, m of t into g delta of t, m of t into this is g delta of t. Okay, this is g delta of t. Now here, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking m of t inside a summation. What I'm doing is I'm taking m of t inside a summation. So you take summation n equal to minus to plus infinity m of t into delta of t minus nts. Now it is some kind of property. What property is called? Sampling property. You know these things are covered in S&S. So it is called sampling property. So you might have studied x of t into delta of t. What is that? X of t into delta of t minus t naught. What is that? Okay. Now in the same way, so this is a property. Now it become like this. Okay. So this is after multiplying m of t with train of impulses. Now finally m delta of t. Uh, okay, here I have written m of t is a continuous time signal. M delta of t is a discrete time signal. Now how m delta of t is defined? Summation L equal to minus to plus infinity m of nts delta of t minus nts. Okay, so this is the sampled signal. What I have done? Simply I have taken a message signal or I have taken a continuous time signal, multiply with train of impulses, I will get a discrete time signal. Now this is a diagram which tells us the operation of sampling. Here m of t is a some continuous time signal. It is defined for all time t. So m of t is defined for every value of t. Okay, so that's what is called continuous time signal. Now what is this? This is called train of impulses. You can see very clearly. Why? Because so we have impulse at 0, next we have impulse at ts, 2ts, 3ts, 4ts, so on, so on. In the same way, we have impulse at minus ts, minus 2ts, so on, so on. So it is just like a train. Okay, so we are getting impulses at regular time interval of ts. You can see very clearly. So the time interval between any two neighboring impulses is ts. That's why ts is called sampling period or sampling interval. Okay, you must remember this. This is very very important. Okay, now so you just do like this. You multiply these two. Multiply m of t and this chain of impulses. What will happen? You get this. Okay, now this is a sampled signal. So before sampling, it was continuous time signal. Now after sampling, so here m of t is not defined at each and every time. So here m of t is this is sample signal. M delta of t is defined only when t equal to 0. Next at t equal to ts, at t equal to ts, so on, so on. So this side also so on, so on. So it is not defined for each and every value of t. It is defined only for finite number of values of t, where it is defined when t equal to 0, t equal to ts, t equal to ts, so on, so on, so on. So we are getting like this. So here it is a continuous time signal, here it is a discrete time signal. Clear? Okay. Here time is discretized. Here time is continuous. Here because the signal m of t is defined for all time t. For all time intervals, for any value of t it is defined. But here, so it is not defined between 0 and ts. Nothing is there. Between 0 and ts it is not defined. It is defined only when t equal to 0 and t equal to ts. So on, so on. Okay. Now not only that, what is the sampled value? M of 0. M of 0. What is the sample value? M of Ts. What is this sample value? M of 2Ts. Why? Because so when t equal to 0, this is M of 0. When t equal to Ts, let us take here, this value is M of Ts. When t equal to 2Ts, this is a M of 2Ts. Okay. Now, in the same way, the sample value is M of Ts, this is M of 2Ts, M of 3Ts, M of 4Ts, so on, so on. Okay. So this is a diagram which tells us the concept of sampling. So it's ideal sampling where we are multiplying M of T with train of impulses. Okay. Now, so let us see what are the problems of sampling. By sampling, we are losing information, lead to distortion. This is very very important. Yes, we are losing information. Why? See, observe these two signals. Okay, so it is defined at each and every value of t, but here we are taking only fewer values of t. Correct. So here m of t has so many values, but here we are taking only very little values. Obviously, so here we are losing some information. You can clearly see. So this is something like this curve, okay, which is defined at each and every time, but we are taking only fewer samples from that curve. Obviously, so this may not contain each and every information that was there in this original signal. Okay, so there can be some distortion, but so we try to minimize the distortion, or we try to minimize the loss of the information. Now, so let us see some important things. M of t Fourier transform of M of t Fourier transform is M of capital M of f. M delta of t Fourier transform is M delta of capital M delta of f. These are its normal notations. Now, now here, so what is sampling? You just go through the sampling. Sampling means multiplying M of t with G delta of t. What is G delta of t? Is the train of impulse. Now here I am multiplying M of t with train of impulse in time domain. Sorry, this is in time domain, isn't it? Now, so let us take Fourier transform. This side it is in time domain. If you take Fourier transform, what happens? M of t becomes M of f. Why? Because M of t Fourier transform is capital M of f. This M of t becomes capital M of f. You know already. So this product becomes convolution. These are all properties of Fourier transform. Now, so we should find out what is the Fourier transform of this train of impulse. We should know what is the Fourier transform of this train of impulse. So I have written. So here this is we have to find out the Fourier transform of train of impulse. What is train of impulse? Summation n equal to minus to plus infinity delta of t minus nts. So how train of impulse look like? So it has got impulses at each and every interval ts. Okay, like this. You must remember this diagram for train of impulses. Okay. Now, so here, so there is a standard Fourier transform pair for the train of impulses. Okay. Now, this is a standard Fourier transform. I am not doing any calculations here. So, if you want, you can go to the any standard book. You will find this. You should remember this first of all. So, summation n equal to minus to plus infinity delta of t minus nts as a Fourier transform of fs into summation k equal to minus to plus infinity delta of f minus kfs. Here, so the Fourier transform of train of impulses is again a train of impulses. So this is very 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 important. Okay, you can clearly see here. So here summation is summation only, right? Okay, so delta of t minus nts, it is in time domain. So it is train of impulse in time domain. It is also train of impulse in frequency domain. So there is no change at all. The only change is Fs. Anyway, it is a strength of the impulse. Correct? Fs is a constant. What is Fs? Fs is called sampling frequency, or what is Fs called? Sampling frequency or sampling rate. That is equal to 1 by Ts. Okay. Now, so this is the standard Fourier transform of the impulse train. So you should remember like this. So impulse train in time domain is also impulse train in frequency domain. So the nature of the impulse will never change. Okay. So what do you mean by that? So what do you get here? Suppose if I ask you, can you draw the impulse train in frequency domain? Yes, you can draw. So we have impulse here, we have impulse here, we have impulse here. So here, but we have only extra term is Fs. This is Fs, and here 0. This is Fs. This is minus Fs, so on, so on. This is the frequency curve, frequency axis. Now, just like time domain, it is also the shape is same. It is in time domain frequency impulse train. In the frequency domain also is impulse train. The only difference will be here it was 1. Correct? Isn't it? Now, if you, in the frequency domain it becomes Fs. The strength of the impulse becomes Fs. And wherever there is Ts, you write Fs. Okay. Now, so this is the standard form. That's why I keep it in the box. So you must know this. Okay. Now, so that is very important. So spacing in time domain is Ts. Correct. So spacing in time domain is Ts. In the frequency domain, what is the spacing? Fs. In the frequency domain, the spacing is Fs. Fs equal to 1 by Ts. Okay. So which means, so there is one more thing. You might have known this. So if there is a expansion in time domain, there will be a compression in the frequency domain, and vice versa. So if you take something like this, suppose x of at, x of at, let us take. If a is more, if a is more than 1, it is a compression. Correct? Now if you take the Fourier transform, so let us take x of at. So if a is more than 1, it is a compression in the time domain. Correct? So in the frequency domain, it becomes what? X of omega by a. So omega by a means nothing but it is a expansion. So that is quite obvious because so if you compress something, if compress any signal in time domain, it will be expanded in the frequency domain and vice versa. Okay, so that's why. So if it is spacing is Ts in time domain, the spacing will be 1 by Ts that equal to Fs in the frequency domain. Okay, so that is quite obvious. You might have known this already. So without wasting much time, let us proceed. So I am finding what I am finding. So if you observe very clearly, I want to find what is the spectrum of the uh, sampled signal. What is m delta of f? What is m delta of f? M delta of is Fourier transform of what is capital M delta of? It is a Fourier transform of m delta of t. What is m delta of t? Sampled signal. Here, so you must know that. So this is the spectrum of sampled signal. Now, so this is a sampled signal in time domain. M delta of t is a sampled signal in time domain. For this, I want to find out the spectrum. For this, I want to find out what is the spectrum. Okay. Now, so here, this is what we have done. Now, m of f, this is what we have done. That equal to m of f. So, now what is the Fourier transform of this? Just now I have written the Fourier transform. This is this. So the Fourier transform of train of impulse is again a train of impulse. The only difference is here it becomes Fs. Extra term is Fs. So it is also just like a train only. Train of impulses only. Okay. So this is a standard form. You must remember. So I written that form here itself. Now Fs. Now what you can do? You can take this m of f inside the summation. Okay. Now Fs is outside. I've taken m of f inside the summation. Now again you can use the formula, the property of sampling. What is that? X of t is convolution del of t minus t naught is what? X of t minus t naught. Now here what will happen? So m of f convolution del of k f minus kfs, it becomes m of f minus kfs. Now so this is the finally spectrum of sampled signal. What is m delta? Capital M delta f is what? Fs. This is a constant summation k equal to minus to plus infinity capital M of f minus kfs. Okay. Now what do you mean by that? Can you tell me what do you mean by that? So here, what is m of f? Capital M of f is what? So that is a Fourier transform of m of t, which means, so this is m of t, its Fourier transform is capital M of f, which means what is capital M of f? The spectrum of the continuous time signal, or the spectrum of m of t. M of f is what? Fourier transform of m of t. Okay. Now here, so what has happened? Again, it is something like summation. Okay. So suppose if you keep k equal to 0, what do you get? M of f plus, put k equal to 1, what do you get? M of f minus fs plus k equal to 2, m of f minus 2fs, so on, so on. Now here, so the spectrum of the sampled signal is sum of the copies of the original message spectrum m of f shifted every kfs. Okay. So it is a sum of copies of the shifted versions of the m of f. Why? Because you can write this as, so please don't forget this fs, it will be there, it is a constant, keep aside. Now if you expand the summation, what do you get? M of f plus m of f minus fs plus m of f minus 2fs, so on, so on, so on. What is that? It is sum of the copies of the original message spectrum m of f shifted to every kfs. Okay. Now, so this is the spectrum of sampled signal. Okay. Now here, so first of all, let me take this as the message spectrum. So this as a message spectrum. So let me take first of all, so this as the message spectrum. So let me take this as the arbitrary shape of the message. So with it is minus fm, here it is fm. Okay. Now, so you just observe. So here I have taken some conditions. Please follow these conditions. Very very important. I will tell you what is the importance of this condition later. You just observe this spectrum. Observe only first figure. Okay. Now this is the original spectrum. So this is m of 0, m of f. Sorry, what is this? M of f. Now what is this? M of f minus fs. So let me clearly show this. So here, so this is m of f, and this is shifted by fs. Now there will be one more copy of the original message signal shifted at 2fs. In the same way, this is shifted towards fs by left side. I mean m of f minus f plus fs. This is now so on so on. Here, so the spectrum contains some of the copies of the original message spectrum shifted by fs. So it is a m of f. This is m of f minus fs. There will be one more copy of the spectrum m of f minus 2fs, so on so on. This is the spectrum of the sampled signal. So what it contains? It contains copies of the original message spectrum shifted by some fs. Okay. So you can clearly see here. So what it contains? Now one more thing. So they multiply. They will be multiplied by what? Fs. So the amplitude multiplied by fs. So the amplitude of the spectrum is multiplied by fs. Fs is also constant. Okay. Now, so here summation k equal to minus 2 plus infinity m of f minus kfs. Okay. Now here, so the spectrum contains some of the copies of the original spectrum only, but there will be some shifted versions. Nothing more than that. Okay. Now, so let me take this later. I will explain all these conditions later. Now, so there is something called sampling theorem. So this theorem is very, very, very important. Okay. So without which you cannot do anything in the digital communication. Now, so here let me go to the conditions. Okay. So here this is the first case where Fs is greater than 2Fm. Okay, so let me take. Now here, so Fs is greater than 2Fm. Now what happened here? So Fs is greater than 2Fm. So please remember what is Fs, what is Fm? Fs is a sampling rate. What is Fm? Fm is a bandwidth of the original message signal. So this is the original message signal having bandwidth Fm, or so that is the frequency of the message signal. You can see. So Fm is a frequency of message signal M of t, or frequency of the continuous time signal M of t. Okay. Now, so this is the case where Fs is greater than 2Fm. Then you get like this. Okay, why? Because so Fs is greater than 2Fm. So what happens? You get like this. So here what is the condition? So there is a gap. There is a gap between any two neighboring spectrums. How much gap is there? Can you tell me? So how much gap is there? Fs minus Fm, this is Fm. What is the gap? You think about this. How much is the gap between them? This is gap. How much is there? Okay. Now this is the sample spectrum if Fs is greater than 2Fm. Okay. Now, so this will be the sampled spectrum when Fs is exactly equal to Fm. Now here there is no gap. What is happening here? So the message spectrums, the shifted versions of message spectrums are touching each other. Okay, so they will touch each other just like this. So there will be one more spectrum, something like this. So there will be one more spectrum, something like this. So they just touch each other. When it happens, when Fs is exactly equal to Fm. So here you just try to draw on a piece of paper. You take a this is M of F. What is M of F? This is a M of F spectrum. So a triangle. So minus Fm to plus Fm. So try to shift by Fs. Here shifted by Fs. Please make a note of this. So we are shifting each and every this spectrum by Fs. Fs, 2Fs, 3Fs, this side minus Fs, minus 2Fs, minus 3Fs, so on and so on. So if you draw this, you'll get like this. Okay. So when Fs is more than 2Fm, so the spectrums will have some gap between them. When Fs is exactly equal to 2Fm, the spectrums are just touching each other. So the copies of the original spectrums are touching each other. Now when Fs is less than 2Fm, what happens? They will overlap with each other. So you get some more spectrum like this. All the spectrums, all the neighboring spectrums, they will be overlapped with each other. So here they are overlapping. Here also they are overlapping. Here also they will overlap. So forget about having gap. They are overlapping with each other. Okay, it is not desirable. So when it is happening, when Fs is less than 2Fm. Okay, so when Fs is less than 2Fm, the copies of the spectrums are overlapping with each other. Okay, so these are three conditions which are very important. So when Fs is more than 2Fm, so they don't overlap, they have some gap between them. So the copies of the spectrum don't overlap, but they maintain some gap. Now when Fs is exactly equal to Fm, so here also they don't overlap, but they just touch each other. So the neighboring copies of the spectrums touch each other, they meet each other. Okay. Now but when Fs is less than 2Fm, so they are overlapping with each other. So this is not at all acceptable. Why? The reason is why. So the first case is very good. It is very desirable. Second case also is okay. You can think of second case also, but third case is not at all desirable. Okay. Now, so let us see why. Okay. Now, so here, so the overlap leads to distortion called as aliasing distortion. Here, as I told you, so there will be overlapping, and that is called aliasing distortion. What it is called? Aliasing distortion or aliasing error. So whenever fs is less than 2 fm, what happens? So the copies of the neighboring spectrum overlap with each other, so causing an error or distortion called as aliasing distortion or aliasing error. Okay. Now, so when it is happening, so when fs is less than 2 fm, please make a note of this. So this aliasing distortion is occurring when fs is less than 2 fm. Here I have taken three cases. Case 1, when fs is less than when fs is uh, more than 2 fm, no problem. When fs is exactly equal to fm, no problem. When fs is less than 2 fm, there is a problem. Okay, so that's why I clearly mentioned. So when fs is less than 2 fm, so we get some distortion, that is called aliasing distortion. Okay, so that is very important. Now, so when there is no aliasing distortion, when these are not overlapping with each other, when fs is greater than 2 fm, and also when fs is equal to 2 fm. So in the case 1, in the case 2, they are not overlapping with each other, so which means there is no aliasing effect or there is no aliasing distortion. So that's why so to avoid aliasing, we always try to maintain fs is greater than 2 fm and equal to 2 fm. So simply I can write fs is greater than equal to 2 fm. Okay, so that is called sampling theorem. What sampling theorem says? So to avoid aliasing error, you always try to maintain fs greater than equal to 2 fm. So here, what is fs? What is fm? Fs is called sampling rate or sampling frequency. What is fm is called? The message signal frequency. Okay. Here, what is the minimum value of fs? Fs minimum is 2 fm. Why? Because fs is greater than equal to 2 fm. So what is the minimum of fs? It will be 2 fm. So that is called Nyquist sampling rate or Nyquist criteria. What it is called? Nyquist sampling rate or Nyquist criteria. Okay. So these are very important. So you must try to understand them properly. Okay. Now, so this is a statement of the sampling theorem. Okay, try to understand the sampling theorem very cleverly. So here, so people have a misconception. What sampling theorem is just like sampling process. Sampling process is nothing but multiplying message signal with or multiplying a continuous time signal with a train of impulses. So that is sampling process. But sampling theorem says whenever you maintain fs more than or equal to 2 fm, there won't be any aliasing effect or there won't be any spectral overlapping. Okay. Now, so this is what the statement says. Okay, a continuous summed signal can be represented in its samples and can be recovered back when the sampling rate fs is greater than or equal to twice the highest frequency component of the message signal fm. So this is the sampling theorem. Okay, so you try to understand the sampling theorem very cleverly. Okay, so what it says, so I will tell you all these things a little bit later. uh, so there is something called reconstruction or recovering. Okay, I'll tell you what is that exactly. Correct. Now, so you must read this statement properly. Okay, so if someone asks you define sampling theorem, generally people say that fs is greater than or equal to fm. Yes, it is a sampling theorem, mathematical expression, but what theorem says is different. You must read this statement very carefully. Okay, so try to read a statement very carefully. What it says. So a continuous time signal can be represented in its samples and can be recovered back. When the sampling frequency fs, I told you already, fs is called sampling frequency or sampling rate, greater than or equal to twice the highest frequency component of the message signal. What is fm? It is the highest frequency component of message signal or bandwidth. You can also call bandwidth. It is twice the, two times the. So when the sampling frequency is twice the highest frequency component of message signal, there can be a recovery. I'll tell you what is a recovery also. Okay, so but for time being, just try to read the statement properly. Okay, so if someone asks you what is sampling theorem, don't tell this Fs is greater than equal to Fm. Yes, it is sampling theorem only, but that is a mathematical expression. So if someone asks you define it, you must tell me like this. Okay. So now let us proceed. So here we are done with sampling. Okay. Now then what is the reconstruction or what is the recovery? So recovery means, so let me go back here. So here sampling means what? We are converting continuous time to discrete time. Recovery means or reconstruction means reverse. What is that? From discrete time you should get continuous time signal. So recovery is a reverse of sampling. Sampling means converting a continuous time signal to discrete time signal. Reconstruction or recovery means the reverse of that, which means getting continuous time signal back from the discrete time signal or this reverse operation. Sampling means like this. Okay, so reconstruction means like this. Correct. So that is a reconstruction recovery. You sometimes so always you should recovery is needed. Why? Because see you take anything generally. So in the nature, most of the signals are in the continuous time. Generally you take voice signal, and that is a continuous time signal. But what we do is, so we convert it into discrete time because so when you convert this into discrete time, so there is something called you can apply some processing. You are studying DSP. What they do DSP? They take discrete time signal, they perform some operations, isn't it? Now after performing operations, what do you do? Again you convert that discrete time signal back to the continuous time. You take a speech processing. There is something called speech processing. Means our voice signal will be processed. What do they do generally? They take our voice signal that is a continuous in time. They convert it into digital. Okay. Sorry, they convert into discrete time. Okay, x of t becomes x of n. So they apply some DSP algorithms. They do some processing. After getting this some after doing processing, so you get a discrete time signal. But we cannot listen discrete time voice. What do they do again? They convert that into continuous time. So we can only listen continuous time voice. Okay, but then we are converting something into discrete time because so when you convert them into discrete time, so you can do so many operations using DSP algorithms. Okay, so that is the reason why. So even though most of the signals that we use in our day-to-day life are analog in nature, we convert them into discrete time. Okay, we do some processing. Whatever is required, we do that. Again, we convert them back into analog. Okay, so that is most essential thing of any communication system. Okay, so that's why reconstruction is very important. Okay, now so let me go to the frequency domain. How to reconstruct? Okay, how to reconstruct? So as I told you already, so let me take case 1. So reconstruction means what I told you. So reconstruction means you must get back uh, continuous time signal from the discrete time signal. So from this signal, I want this signal. Correct? That is a reconstruction. What is sampling? Sampling means so this signal will be converted to this signal. Okay. Now, so I am looking to the spectrum. I am looking for a spectrum. So how to get back your original spectrum from the sampled spectrum? As I told you, the sample spectrum contains copies of original spectrum only, but just they're shifted. Okay. Now, so if you observe very carefully, what is this? What is this triangle? So that is a original spectrum of m of t. Okay. So it is also spectrum, but only shifted version. So we don't need all those things. You just take this, the first copy of the original spectrum. So I told you already. Please remember, they are all so multiplied with something called fs. Don't forget this. Where is that? This fs. So all the copies of the original spectrum or multiplied with Fs. Okay, so that is not written here. But so the only thing we can do is we should able to extract this sample, this copy of the spectrum. Okay, how can we do this? Very simple. So you pass this entire spectrum to low pass filter having bandwidth FM. What will happen? So you pass the low pass filter, this all this will be removed. So this will be rejected, this also will be rejected, all the copies will be rejected, only this part will be passed through. Okay, you can very clearly see here. So but what's happening here? So this is the spectrum of the sampled signal. Now if you pass this through low pass filter, what will happen? You get only this part. So this part will be rejected, everything will be rejected. All the multiple copies of the original spectrum will be removed. Okay, only this part will be passed through. What is this part? M of f only, correct? So but M of f with some amplification Fs. So you must remember this. Okay, we are getting M of f only, right? Just only thing is extra. It is amplified version Fs. That's it. Okay. Here, so but we are choosing the bandwidth of the cutoff frequency of the low pass filter as Fs by 2. Okay, and with the magnitude Ts 1 by Fs. Okay. Now here, so here, uh, otherwise here we have a amplitude of this spectrum. This copy of the original spectrum is Fs, but here we need a magnitude of 1. Okay, so it is Fs is there, but we should remove this Fs also. Okay, now here, so this low pass filter, how it is having cutoff frequency Fs by 2 and magnitude 1 by Fs. 1 by Fs is nothing but Ts. Now, so here this having a cutoff frequency Fs by 2. Okay, so with a we should have a magnitude of Ts. So this low pass filter should be like this. How it should be? So the low pass filter should be, let us take ideal low pass filter. So it is this cutoff frequency is Fs by 2. You can take FM also, but generally we take Fs by 2. So what is this magnitude? Ts. Why Ts? So Ts is nothing but 1 by Fs. Okay. So if it is Ts, it is having already magnitude Fs. What is Ts into Fs? How much is that? Ts into Fs is 1. So you get 1 here. The magnitude will be unchanged now. Are you getting what I'm saying? Here, so the copy of the original message spectrum is having amplitude Fs. Here also it is having amplitude Fs. Why? I told you that is already I have shown here. So, but if you take a low pass filter having cutoff frequency Fs by 2 and magnitude Ts, here this low pass filter magnitude Ts and this the magnitude of this spectrum is Fs. These two are getting multiplied. So, what is Ts into Fs? 1. So, the magnitude will be 1 or magnitude will be unchanged. Okay. Now, so that is the logic here. So, we are using a low pass filter of this kind. Now, so generally we use cutoff frequency of Fs by 2. Okay. Now, so that is a reconstruction. But so you cannot reconstruct always. Okay. Can you tell me? So suppose I have taken case 1. What I do? I pass through low pass filter of bandwidth Fs by 2, or I can use bandwidth of Fm also. Suppose what about second case? Can I do same thing here? Suppose if I pass through low pass filter of bandwidth Fm, can I get original spectrum? Yes, you can get. But the problem is here, so the filter has to be ideal, or the filter has to have sharp cutoff frequencies. Suppose if it is not ideal, so suppose it has some transition band, or if it has got some roll-ups, what may happen? So something like this. Something like this may happen. Okay. So in the first case, even though it has some roll-off, there won't be any problem because we have some gap between them. Okay. So in the first case, recovery is very simple. We don't need ideal low pass filter, or we don't need a low pass filter with sharp cutoff frequencies. But in the second case, you can recover. You can recover, but provided the filter should have a sharp cutoff frequencies. So in the third case, you cannot recover. the recovery is impossible. Even though I use ideal low pass filter, recovery is impossible. What happens? Suppose if I use ideal low pass filter like this, what is happening? You are not getting your original message spectrum back. What is happening? You are getting some distortions. What do you get? You get spectrum like this. Okay, here, so the spectrum is corrupted. You're getting some overlapping spectrums. So you don't get your original spectrum. You get some overlapped spectrum. You can observe very clearly. So you get some overlapped portions into the picture. So, so the reconstruction is possible only when Fs is greater than 2fm and Fs is equal to fm. In the third case, where Fs is less than 2fm, recovery or reconstruction is not possible even though you use ideal low pass filter. Okay. In the first case, recovery is possible even with the normal or practical low pass filter or low pass filter having some gradual roll ups. In the second case, recovery is possible if and only if you have a sharp cutoff frequencies. Okay. Here, what is recovery? Recovery is very, very simple. Only thing is you have to pass your spectrum through the low pass filter. So recovery is very, very simple. So what is sample? Sampling is nothing but multiplying m of t with 10 of impulses. Recovery is nothing but passing the spectrum to the low pass filter. It is something like modulation, demodulation. What is the modulation? You multiply m of t with carrier. Demodulation, you do something, but finally you pass everything to the low pass filter. Okay. So more or less it is similar to the modulation and demodulation only. Okay. Now here, so a recovery or reconstruction is possible if and only if your sampling frequency is greater than or equal to fm. If it is less than 2 fm, recovery is not possible. That is what sampling theorem says. So a continuous time signal can be represented in its samples and can be recovered back when the sampling frequency is fs greater than or equal to twice the highest frequency component of the message signal. So this theorem is actually related to recovery. Nothing to do with the sampling process. You can sampling with any fs. There is no problem. So here the sampling theorem tells us everything about recovery process, because recovery is very, very important. We can sample. Sampling is not at all a big deal. Recovery is a very, very biggest problem. Okay. So the sampling theorem says you can recover the your original continuous time signal from the discrete time signal if and only if the sampling rate or sampling frequency is greater than or equal to twice the highest frequency component of the continuous time signal m of t. So this is very, very important. So if fs is less than 2 fm, you cannot recover. So if you cannot recover, you cannot sample. You should not sample with that frequency range or that frequency rate, that sampling rate. Okay. So here before sampling, so you must make sure that your sampling rate or sampling frequency fs is more than what? 2 fm. Okay. First of all, find out what is the highest frequency of the message signal and choose the sampling rate such that it is more than 2 fm. Then sample it. Why? Because if you sample with that rate only, you can recover or you can do reconstruction. Okay. So without reconstruction, there is nothing to do with the sampling. What is the purpose of sampling if you cannot able to reconstruct? Okay. So that is you should keep it in your mind. Okay. Now, so let us analyze everything in time domain. So let me take. So this is a low pass filter, right? So low pass filter will be a just like a rectangle thing. So you know already. So rectangle in time domain becomes sync in the frequency domain. These are the one of the standard Fourier transform pairs. Okay. So this is the standard Fourier transforms. So rectangle in time domain, sync in the frequency domain, and vice versa. So here rect t by capital T is nothing but t into sync pi f t. So these are the standard Fourier transform pairs. You must know. I think you know this. So here, what is the low pass filter? Low pass filter is it is in time frequency domain. I am minding you. So low pass filter with the transfer function h of s is I told you just now. This is a low pass filter. We are using low pass filter in the frequency domain for reconstruction. So here I want to understand the reconstruction in time domain. So this is a reconstruction is frequency domain. It is very good. Okay, but let us understand the reconstruction in time domain. So this is the frequency domain impulse. This is a frequency domain transfer function. So fs by 2 minus fs by 2 with magnitude ts. Same thing I have written. So with the magnitude ts from where to where? Minus fs by 2 plus fs by 2. So this is the low pass filter we are using for reconstruction. That is a low pass filter that we are using for reconstruction. Now, so if it is, what is this low pass filter? What is the shape of the low pass filter? Rectangle. So something is rectangle in frequency domain. What happens? In time domain, it should be sync. I told you just now. So if something is rectangle in time domain, in the frequency domain it is sync and vice versa. If it is a rectangle in frequency domain, it should be sync in the time domain. So here the low pass filter that we are using in the frequency domain is a rectangle in shape. So that should be sync in the time domain. So that is the property of Fourier transform. Okay. Now this is h of t. What is h of t? Sync fst. I hope you are okay with this. Now, so what is sync t? Sync x? That is standard sync function. Sync pi x by pi x. What is sync x? So this you should know. Sync x is nothing but sync pi x by pi x. Or sync x by x also. Sometimes they'll write sync x by x also. But so mostly we write sync x equal to sync pi x by pi x. Sorry. Sync x equal to sin pi x by pi x. What is sync x? Sin pi x by pi x. Okay. Now, so here, so now what is h of t? Sync fst. So that equal to sync pi fst by pi fst. So finally, this is the h of t. What is h of t? Impulse response of the low pass filter. So this is h of f and this is h of t. It is a sync function because in the frequency domain it is a rectangular function. So in the time domain it has to be sync function. Okay. Now, so here for reconstruction, what have you done? So for reconstruction, what have you done? We have multiplied the spectrum into low pass filter. See, what I told you is we are passing the spectrum of the sample signal through low pass filter in the frequency domain. What are you doing? We are passing the spectrum of the sample signal through low pass filter, which means we are multiplying the spectrum of the sample signal into with what? Low pass filter. You get like this. Okay. So in the mathematically, how we are reconstructing? You are multiplying the spectrum of the sample signal with the low pass filter frequency response. So that is in the frequency domain. In the time domain, what happens? So you are getting your original spectrum of the message signal m of f by multiplying the spectrum of the sample signal with the low pass filter frequency response. Now if you take the inverse Fourier transform, m of f will become m of t. Okay. Now m delta of f becomes m delta of t. I am going into the time domain. As I told you, we are discussing the reconstruction in the time domain. Let us see how it will be. Now h of f in the frequency domain, h of f if this is h of f in the frequency domain, h of t in the time domain will be h of t. Okay, so m of f, m of t, m delta of f, m delta of t product in the frequency domain will be convolution in the time domain. These are also properties. H of f becomes h of t. Now we know already m delta of t, m delta of t. What is h of t? Just now it is written sync fst. H of t is sync fst. I have written. So, but sample signal is what? What is m delta of t? So this is sample signal. So I have taken from here. What is m delta of t? Where is that? So this is m delta of t. So I've written here. So m delta of t is what? This is m delta of t. I'm writing here. So m delta of t I've written here. Convolution. Next, sync FST. Sync FST. So you know already you can take sync FST inside the summation. What happens now? Again, property of convolution. You get something like this. So this is the sampled signal in time domain. M delta of t is something like this. M of NTS sync FST minus n. You do some simple calculation, you get this. Try to observe this very carefully. Now, so this is M of t finally. M of t is like this, like this, like this. So we are doing reconstruction now. So what a reconstruction means? So from M delta of t, you must get M of t. So from sampled signal, you should get original signal. So which means from M delta of t, you must get M of t. Okay. So this is the M of t. It will be something like this. What M of t? Summation n equal to minus plus infinity M of NTS sync FST minus F. So if you expand this summation, it will be M of 0 sync FST plus M of TS sync FS minus 1 plus M of 2TS so on so on so on. Okay. Now we'll see later. But let me tell you what is sync function. This is a sync function. What is that? Sync function is maximum that equal to 1 when t equal to 0. It is sync t. I have taken the original sync t. Sync x or sync t. So this is sync t waveform. So what is happening here? T. So whenever t equal to 0, it is maximum 1. When t equal to 1, it is 0. When t equal to 2, it is 0. When t equal to 3, 4, 5, 6. The same way, when t equal to minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, so on, so it is 0. Now that's written. A sync function is unit area. A sync pulse passes through 0 at all positive and negative integers, which means at t equal to plus 1 minus 1 plus 2 minus 2 so on it passes through 0. You can clearly see this. When t equal to 1 or minus 1, 2 minus 2, 3 minus 3, 4 minus 4 so on it passing through 0. When t equal to 0, it is maximum, that is 1. So that is the nature of the sync function. Okay. So the sync t or sync function passes through 0 whenever t equal to plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, so on, and it is having a maximum value when t equal to 0. What is the maximum value? 1. Okay. Now, so here I taken sync, and this is sync shifted version of sync. So sync t minus 1. What is this? Sync t minus 1. So I just shifted. So sync is maximum when t equal to 0. What is sync t minus 1? It is maximum when t equal to 1. Sorry. It is maximum when t equal to 1. You try to write draw properly. So now when sync t minus 1 is 0, it is also when t equal to 3, 4, 5, so on so on. Now this is sync, this is original sync, it is shifted version of sync, it is shifted version, it is also shifted version. I have taken all shifted versions of sync pulses. They look like this. Okay. Why? Because here what M of t contains? What it contains? Shifted version of sync pulses. And so they are multiplied with M of NTS. Can you tell me what are the M of NTS? What are they? So I told you already. What is, suppose if n equal to 0, what do you get? M of 0 into sync FST. What is M of 0? It is sampled value at t equal to 0. What is m of Ts? It is sampled value at t equal to Ts. What is m of 2Ts? It is sampled value at t equal to Ts. So let me go back. I told you already. So I told you. What is this value? M of 0. What is this sample value? M of Ts. What is sample value? M of 2Ts. This is M of 3Ts, M of 4Ts, so on, so on. Okay. Now here, so what is this we are getting? So the sampled values with sync pulses. Okay. Anyway, we stop here. So tomorrow we discuss everything in detail about this sync pulses. Okay. Thank you.